everybody, and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today we're going to be doing a comparison between two gouaches. Last week I went ahead and did a review on the Lukas Studio gouache, and then I ended up receiving from one of my Patreons, and I thank you so much. You know who you are. I am just blessed to receive a set of these Holbein gouache just to like try out, and I'm gonna do a comparison between the two brands, so just to see if there's anything different maybe between a studio gouache and these artist gouache paints. So I'm super curious, since this was using these Lukas here, was the first time I ever really used gouache to do a whole entire painting. So I'm very interested in doing a comparison between both these two brands and just kind of seeing what the difference is, if there's a difference. And also I'll be experimenting in a little bit different way than when I did with the Lukas. I'm going to go ahead and do two sheets of comparison. One is going to be basically where I don't spray the sheet down, or the sheet of paper. I'm not going to spray it down. We're going to do a color chart with the boy, that's a really loud train, sorry about that. We're going to do a comparison. Must be like the second train that we've had today within like minutes. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'll just ignore it. Okay, so we're going to do a comparison between the two. So we are going to work one where sheet of paper using both of the gouaches on a dry piece of paper, but we're going to have water, we're going to mix it up and all that stuff. We're just not going to spray the paper first. Then I'm going to go ahead and take out another piece of paper, and we are going to wet that paper down, and then we're going to try out another color chart and also use these paints on paper that has been sprayed or wetted first, to see what the reactions are, what the differences are, and that way you can kind of get a better comparison. Plus that, I will do a speed painting like I did the last time, using only the Holbein gouache paints. And for this one here, I'm going to try and do it, and this is going to be a challenge for me, but I'm going to try and do it with not as much detail, but just a little bit more looser of a painting. So we'll see what we can do with these. I'm super excited, and I hope you guys are too. So let's go ahead and turn this around and jump into the comparison. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start this off by, I am going to draw a line. Doesn't have to be a perfect one, just a line going across this paper. And that's going to divide up both of these comparisons. So just so that way I'm not making any smudges, I'm going to go ahead and get my little bridge here. And we're just going to go ahead and do, you know what, I'm going to save the best for last, right? So let's go ahead and write down Lukas up here. And no, I didn't mean it like two, I just said that, but I have not tried the Holbein. We don't know how it's going to act. I can't even write anymore. Oh my goodness, today is horrible. Let's see here. We got Lukas. Oh my gosh, it's getting worse. Brought to you by the most funniest blooper here ever. Okay, so anyways, we're going to put Lukas down on that. And then here is the Holbein. And I haven't tried these. I just know that one says artist, one says studio, and there's Holbein. Gouaches, but how they work, I have no clue. I always say best for last, meaning I haven't tried these. So I'm just saying that I haven't tried these. So I'm leaving basically the mystery for last, because I've already tried the Lukas last week and we did a comparison, or we did a review on that. So we're saving the one that we don't know, or at least I don't know, for last. That's what I was meaning. So we're not doing any judgment here first. I never did try them. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get out our paints for the Lukas Studio. I really would like to, well, hopefully that wasn't too loud for you guys. I really would like to put these in, let's see here. Let's see here. I will be back in 2 secs. This is just going to take me just a second. Okay, so I am here and I am back. I went ahead and just got my regular palette here that I usually use for like my acrylic paints. I think this is upside down. Might be upside down. Yep. I'm going to use this one in a little while now. There we go. So anyways, so we're just going to use that. And I also want to put on here, since I just now realized, I'm going to put dry. And the reason why I put dry down is because we are going to work with all these colors, do a color chart, and we are not going to spray the paper first. So we're going to do color chart on both the colors, no water on it. Then we're going to take out another piece of paper and we're going to spray it first and then be able to work it again. Actually, I could do it on one paper. Well, no, let's just do the separate paper. I had to think about that for a second. I was like, wait, just a second, maybe not. So let's go ahead and add these colors to our palette. And I don't really need a whole lot. So we got white. If they come out a little thicker, it's still okay. We will add water to it. I mean, I could actually do not all the colors, but guess we could just do a few. You know what? We're just going to do a few. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We did 6 colors. White, probably really didn't need to put white down. I mean, white is white, but you never know. So I'm going to give this a good spritz and get those wetted down. And I'm going to take me out a brush. This is just a generic brush, a little filbert. And I'm going to mix this up with the water that I sprayed on my palette. May end up having to put a little bit more water in. Let me just get this thing a little spritz there. There we go. So if it comes out anything like that, it's still fine. Just go ahead and mix it up. So those look good. And now I'm going to go ahead and, okay, so we got, basically, I'm just going to put the colors white, yellow, what is this, burnt orange or something? Yellow, orange. We're going to put, we'll just put orange. That was primary red. I'll just put prim red. And I should have spaced them a little bit more. And then we got this bright red. I don't know if that's like a scarlet red or red deep, cadmium red deep. So we'll just put deep red. And then we got a purple. Okay, so should have spaced them out a little bit. I'm going to make sure that my brush has been wet. And I'm just gonna lay down the white. Sorry about the train. I told you that train is like on a mission. Now I got some red in there. Let me see if I can't do that again. Don't know how I got red in it, but I think I did. Yeah, there's the white. Yellow. Orange. Primary red. Deep red. Purple. Now, once these colors all dried on my last review of these, it was kind of hard to re-wet them on the paper. Like, it was really kind of stuck once they dried. So I'm going to let those dry, and we're going to go ahead and do the Holbein. So I want to turn this palette around to where we can do our Holbein on here. And then I'm going to go back and see if we can't re-wet it and work those colors. So I want to turn that around. There we go. Clean palette. Okay, let's go ahead and get these out. So we got, let's see here, carmine. So it's a red. Ooh. It's like jumping out. I just want to use it just a little bit because a little bit goes a long way. Yellow, lemon yellow. Okay, here is ultramarine deep blue. I'm just putting little bits of this down. And then we got ivory black. And then we've got a white. Okay, get it in there. Ooh, it was like wanting to come out. It was like, help me, let me out. It's like, was desperate to get out of there, wasn't it? Okay, so I got those. I'm gonna give it a nice little spritz of water. And then I'm gonna write down, we're just gonna do red, yellow, blue, black, and white. I know I should have put white up there on top, but it's okay. Oops, don't want to use that brush. Wrong brush. Okay, so red. Let's add a little bit more water to it. Wow, that is really nice. Now that is really, really opaque. I think I still have red in my brush. Yeah. Okay, let's do yellow. I don't really want those to intermix. Yellow. blue. The reason why that red might be really, really opaque is probably because I didn't have as much water with it as much as some of these other ones that I have here have more water. Oh, that black is really black. Okay, and then let's do the white. Oops. Don't want to get any of that water mixed in. Now, I do notice one thing with the differences in whites compared to, from the Lukas compared to the Holbein, is that the white up here, and this is without my little bit of red mixed in with that one, but up here looks more like, when compared to the paper, looks more cream than it does white. And this one down here looks almost a match to the paper, especially on this side. This side looks like I got a little bit of my red water kind of in it, and it may stained it just slightly on this side, a little bit of a reddish color. But the actual white that came across here is very, very white. Like, it really does blend very well with the paper color. These haven't had a chance to dry yet because we just put them down. I want to try and, yeah, this, oops, didn't mean to do that. Oops, naughty me, just made a mess. Okay, so anyways, fact is, with these colors up here on the Lukas, I want to wet them, like re-wet them, because I mean, they're still kind of wet already. How about the yellow? No, didn't dry. So the red is kind of dry. The purple's dry. The orange, the yellow is not really dry. So what I want to do is I just want to spray either the red or the purple and see if I can't rework these Lukas ones. Because I tried to spray it and rework it, and it wasn't really, that one did good. Okay, see how it, if I try moving it away, it's kind of had the paper underneath is stained, like the color of where I originally put it on, so it didn't completely all wash away. How about the red? There's a lot of water there, by the way. I'm literally having to rub really hard, and then I'm starting to actually eat away at my paper to try and get that to rework. So it's a little bit harder to rework these colors without damaging your paper. But I am using a cheaper type paper for this. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference or what, but I literally have to scrub to try and get it to, and I still have that stain mark of where it is. So it didn't completely rework all the color out of it. Now, I have had some watercolor paints where you put down watercolor paints and then you spray it after it dries, and you can literally work on it and it just completely reactivates the whole thing. But in this case here, you still got a little bit of a stain and a little bit harder to try and rework that area. So I don't know if this is dry. I'm so afraid to touch it now. Let's see here. That's a little bit wet. That's wet. The red is dry. Okay, red's dry. Black. Black is dry. Just the blue and the yellow is a little bit wet. So we're going to work the black and the red. So I'm going to respray this. Oops. I am just clumsy today, just to make sure. Yep. So I gave it a good spritz. And look at that. Look at that. One little spritz. And my ink is already starting, or not my ink, but my watercolor is already, wow, look at that. It even blended my, you talk about reworking. Now, it could be the paper itself is why it's holding on to its form underneath. And I'm thinking if I had some better paper, because this example was done on some cheaper paper, watercolor paper. But I can still see underneath of it like the stain of where it was at. But as soon as I sprayed it, as you can see, it started to melt. I mean, look at that. And if I sprayed it some more, look at that. And underneath of it, on this one here, try and move it to the side. I don't really see where I laid down the color that much. And look at that. That is night and day difference. Okay, so let's do this again up there at the Lukas. I'm gonna give it a good spritz. I know my paper is probably gonna bow up, but look. Let's try spraying the yellow. It doesn't really do anything. You have to scrub it to try and get it to rework, and yeah, it's a mess. So I made a complete mess, but what we figured out too is that look at the comparison on how this does. I mean, I just spray it. Let's try this one more time. I'm try thinning that out just a little bit. Hopefully it'll dry quick. And when that dries, we're just gonna give it a spritz and see if it doesn't like start like going haywire here. We're gonna do it up here too. I actually laid this one on a little bit thicker than I did that one. Well, I laid the Lukas one a little bit thicker. I don't think that's fair. There. There. I made it a little bit thicker on this side. Just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to let those two reds completely dry. So we'll end up coming back to these. And basically my comparison on this is just like with the Lukas, can you spray it with water and then it just totally, you know, is reworkable? Or the Holbein, you spray it and it's reworkable. Which one is more reworkable or reactivated with water a lot more easily? Or I don't even know if that's even a word, easier. Oh boy. But we will find out once this dries. I'm going to remove this paper and we're going to go ahead and go to our next test here. Let's go ahead and divide this. Let's go ahead and put Lukas. Make sure my spelling's right, because me and spelling, I don't think it's just me and spelling, it's probably me and reading also. It's like, oh boy. It's okay, I can draw a picture and show you guys what I mean. We can play Pictionary. Okay, so, and I'm going to put wet on this one. So we're basically, what we're going to do is we're going to spray the paper first and then use the watercolor. So the Lukas, and here comes another train, so sorry about that, you guys. I can hear it coming. We'll do purple. We'll do deep red. We'll do, I really should have made those spaced out. Primary red. Orange. Yellow. We'll do red. We'll do yellow. We'll do blue. Black. We will actually leave the whites out because it's hard to see the whites on white paper. So here we go. I'm giving a nice generous spritz. Probably be too much water, or no, but we did wet the paper first. My fingers must have something on it. Great. Okay, so this is Holbein, so we'll do this one first. Now here is red. Of course, it spreads out really, really nicely. I love that effect, by the way. That is just gorgeous. Yellow, you're gonna be careful. I'm gonna go out here. So you have to be careful when you're adding water to your paper, because it depends on where your water is on the paper. You could have it spiral out or get too unpredictable. So there's blue. There is black. And see, it's kind of like a hit and a miss. Like this red here had a little bit more water to it than these here. So this one here is starting to kind of branch out on the edges. Now let's do the Lukas. So we're going to do purple. And see, that don't spread out that well. Not like the Holbein. Deep red. Ooh, that one did good. Maybe it's just something with reds. Maybe there's something about reds. Let's do primary red. Kind of going over. Orange. And then we got yellow. I'll put it here just in case. You never know if it's going to spread out. So of course, with the comparison on this, when you wet your paper first, you're going to have more of a lighter color. It's going to be just like watercolor, kind of like that effect that watercolor brings, where either it's going to spider web out like this, or you end up getting edges to where they're not as, you know, crisp or, you know, solid. I got water on there. So you get that effect that a lot of watercolor usually does, just more vibrant colors. So you're getting a little bit more of a vibrant colors, but yet you're using kind of like those watercolor techniques. So with you, depending on what kind of style you're going to be doing, you could either do it one way where you're not spraying your paper first, and then making sure you got enough water in your pigments though, for sure. So definitely make sure you have enough water on them, and then go on your paper. If you do it dry, you're going to have more crisp, more predictable, where you're going into some really fine details, sharp edges, sharp lines, you know, keep it dry, you know. But if you are going to be wanting to do something looser or more fluid or more unpredictable, like if you're going to lay down your color and it ends up spidering out, it tends to get a little bit blotchy on the edges, you know, just something not so sharp, then wetting your paper first, then going on top of it with the watercolor or gouache that I'm using will end up making it more of a looser, flowy feel. So keep that in mind when working on your artwork, depending on what you are doing with it. So that is the effect that you get. Looks like to me, with the comparison, the Holbein, that one spread it out a lot. And then this one started to spread out a little bit. Now, could that be just a red thing, because it was just like basically the reds that really wanted to spider out. But the Holbein seemed to instant like spread out, like really, really easy started spreading out. The colors just seem a little bit more opaque, or a little bit more, it's got a lot more pigment in it. Just seems like, it just feels that way. But you know, let's go ahead and we're going to spray this other paper. That's what it seems to me so far. But I am really liking those Holbeins. They seem pretty nice. Okay, so this should be completely dry. Yes, it's dry. So here we go. What do you guys think? Which one is going to spread out, reactivate quicker? Okay, so do you guys think it's going to be the Lukas? Am I going to spray this and all of a sudden it's just going to start? Or is it going to be the Holbein? Am I going to spritz this and it just goes? Which one do you think is going to reactivate the quickest and the easiest? Well, we're about ready to find out. I need a drum roll. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. And that was a really good solid spritz. Let's do it twice, 3 times. That's a lot of water. That's a whole lot of water. Okay, I sprayed it 3 times. I'll even spray the Lukas. I'll give it extra water. And maybe this? No. Oh no. I'm just lightly going over it, by the way. It reworks a little bit. That was a light hand, by the way. I didn't scrub on it. I don't want to scrub. Light hand. I got the outside to kind of come off. Kind of getting some water on this side. Let me dry that out. It's like, don't cross those boundaries. I mean, I'll probably have to scrub it really hard in order to get it to go somewhere. All right, here we go. Lightly. There's a lot of pigment just sitting on top of that. Yeah. That's lightly scrubbing. Seems to me like the Holbein ends up coming off more. Let me give this another spray. I'm going to start rubbing it. I'm going to try not to get to where I'm actually damaging the paper. So I'm scrubbing it now. Okay, that's what I got when scrubbing it. Let me go ahead and scrub this one. Okay, I don't want to damage the paper. Let's get some of this pigment away so we can kind of see underneath. Oh my goodness, if I can even get the pigment away. Come on. Well, as you can see, I can still see where I had left those marks. So we can still see the outline of where these marks are. After scrubbing this one here stayed, and not a lot of the pigment came off. I mean, it still has a few here, you know, but, well, hold on. You have to let it sit for a little while. Maybe it might come off some more. I don't know. That's just, it's like scrubbing it. Now let's try this one. I don't know. I think the Holbein ends up dissolving a lot quicker, and more of the pigment is reworked a lot more easier. But you see this? This is paper. And then I got some paper there. So it's always the paper, you know, that could be playing a part in this on absorbing it so much. Even if the paper was wetted down, not for sure if it makes a difference, but we are going to try it anyway, so that way our speculations are completely out. We do not want speculation. It's kind of dry. That one's still wet. The black is dry. So let's do this. The black is dry. Yellow is dry. Red, well, purple is dry. That one looks, these look still too wet. So let's spray the black. Now I sprayed the paper first on this one before I applied the gouache to it. And it looks pretty similar to the red. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still reworks it. Paper is really crappy though. But we're not doing a review on the paper. But I can say this, it could be the paper. But still, even with crappy paper, and that one reworked really easily. And that one reworked very easily. Really don't want that to go over. That one didn't rework as well. So I still got a stain on the paper. Like, it's not, the red was doing better than it was. And the blue reworked better. So, I mean, for a student grade on the Lukas, it's still not too bad for a student grade. And the Holbein ones are more artist grade, and the pigments are going to be more richer, and they should be, I'm not for sure on their light fast qualities, but usually Holbein are more, I don't think they put anything. So yeah, not for sure, but there are more pigmented and seems to be a little bit more reworkable than the Lukas. So that's just my thought there. It just seems, I mean, even looking at this comparison, you can kind of tell. It just seems like the Holbein are more reworkable. So yeah, that is basically my comparison on the Lukas and the Holbein. So I want to actually give you guys a better review on the Holbein in comparison. I'm going to go ahead and do a speed painting for you guys. So if you guys want to stick around, we're going to do a speed painting using only the Holbein colors, gouache colors. And then after that, I will give you guys kind of like a final review on the Holbein on how they felt, how they worked, and do more of a looser feel to it. But all in all, in the comparison, either one of them, you can still work and do incredible, beautiful artwork. I did a butterfly using the Lukas Studio gouaches. So you're still able to work and you're still able to mix the colors. You're still able to create beautiful artwork with it. As far as like the Holbein, we're going to go ahead and create something with the Holbein. But it should still be just as fun. And yeah, this is not a good or bad review. It is basically a comparison showing you some of the differences, maybe something that you might need to work around or just expect that might happen to it. So it's just, that's basically what I base my reviews or my comparisons with. It's not going to be a good or bad review, just kind of get an idea of how two different brand gouaches work between a studio and an artist grade. So let's go ahead and get to our speed painting. All right, so I have just finished with my speed painting, and as you can see, I finished off this little peacock. Now, the comparison that I can say with working with the Holbein compared to working with the Lukas gouache is that it feels a little bit different. Like, I mean, it has more, like the Lukas paints felt more like I was working with like an acrylic paint. A little bit, it had like a kind of like a more of a different feel to it. And working with these, the Holbein Arches Gouache, felt like I was working with more of a watercolor. So it felt like the texture and the way it just like spread out just felt more watercolory, but it could be that I just added a whole lot more water to the paper and sprayed and sprayed and sprayed in order to get it that way. But either which way, the colors were gorgeous in this 5 set, and the blending, I mean, I even blended up my browns and everything that I needed, and my grays. So, I mean, you can pretty much blend and mix your colors that you're needing, and it was just a whole lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. It felt a whole lot lighter, should I say, a whole lot lighter than the Lukas. The Lukas felt a little bit more of a heavier type of paint. So that's just the total feel of what I had from working from one to the other. I'm not going to say one's bad and one's not bad. That's just not what I do. I loved both of them. They do have some differences, but other than that, you can still create nice, beautiful pieces, or at least some artwork with both of these sets of paint. So I guess that would be basically my final review, is that these colors are really, really nice, and these paints are really, really nice, and I absolutely loved working with them. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that comparison video between the two gouaches. If you could, leave a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you're looking for full tutorials, like full lessons on either color pencil, charcoal, or acrylic painting, soft pastel, I do have that on my Patreon. So the link is in the description below. And this week, I think we just got through doing some like fairy lights or some light bulbs, like a little chain of fairy lights. And so I usually break those down into, if I'm doing one piece, we kind of work at one section at a time. So that way it is not too long of a video to where it's going to put you to sleep. Because I do know it's really hard if you have some of these videos that are like 6 hours, 4 hours, whatever long. It's really, really hard to concentrate for that long. So I've been breaking it up into individual sections, at least I've been trying to where if you're going to hone into making like little fairy lights or whatever it is, you can go directly to that video and watch like a color pencil for fairy lights. So you can get that part of the painting if that's what you're wanting to do for your own painting. So anyways, yes, the link for the Patreon is in the description below. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So I guess I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.